What is up, guys? I am Get Flanked, and welcome to another episode of How to Rank Up from Gold to Platinum. This is actually episode 4 in this series, and it's been a while since I made one of these videos, but it's without a doubt one of the most highly requested series on this channel. Now keep in mind, guys, that pretty much all of my tip videos are designed to help players at that platinum or lower level take the next step. That's really my wheelhouse. That's the level of competition that I feel like I can have the biggest impact on. So even if it's not titled How to Go from Gold to Platinum, that's really the purpose of most of my tip videos, is to help players at that level of competition take the next step. With that said, when I do make these videos, it's because I see something or come across something that I feel like really separates a lot of the gold to platinum players. And the previous episodes, we talked about peaking, we talked about tunnel vision, and we talked about journeying with a purpose. All three were concepts that I really saw a difference in between that gold and platinum player. And this episode is going to be no different. Now, what I want to go over in this video is how to win more of your back and forth gunfights. And to explain what a back and forth gunfight is, let's just show the clip that we're going to break down and go over. Now, in this clip, pay attention to the last gunfight that I get into, and that's what we're going to break down, analyze, and try to improve upon in this video.
Last operator standing. 1 on 4 remaining. Op 4 eliminated.
Okay, so that's what I'm referring to there as a back and forth gunfight. And I realize this clip is from the test server, and I realize that, the test server isn't where people get the most sweaty. But thinking back to this game, we were playing against good competition. The players on the other team were highly skilled players. And I think it's a perfect representation of what I want to go over today. So that's why I'm using this clip. Now, the reason that I refer to these as back and forth is a lot of times you encounter these gunfights where you get a few shots off, maybe you even land a couple, but the enemy gets behind cover, and what do you do at that point? And a lot of times you'll see, the enemy comes back out and pre-fires where you were, and this is kind of a back and forth where you fire a few shots, get behind cover, change your angle, and then the enemy does the same. And the reason that I think it's so important that we go over this situation is because so many times the winner of this back and forth gunfight is going to win the round. Like you're seeing in this clip right here is that, whoever wins this wins the round for the team. And what sticks out to me about these back and forth gunfights is most of the time that's the case, and if you think about like earlier in the round, you get off a few shots at an enemy, they get behind cover. If it's early in the round and a lot of their teammates are alive, they have a lot of options. They can decide to enter that gunfight and come back at you, or they can just rotate to a different part of the map and live the fight another day. But as you get to the end of the round, you don't have that option, and it becomes even more important when you're in the objective like we are. I'm a defender, I'm in the objective. He's got to do something in this area in order to win the round. That's either kill me or plant the diffuser. So there is really no option for me to go on some crazy flank or anything like that at this point. I've got to kind of stand my ground and win this back and forth gunfight. He's got a little bit more options than me, but the important thing is that you handle this situation and that you know how to win this situation, and that you make yourself as unpredictable as possible. Even though I can't go on a crazy flank, even though I have to stay in this general area, I can still do things to make myself less predictable and make myself a harder target to kill. So let's take a look at that first clip that I showed and break down what I feel like I did right in order to give myself an advantage in that gunfight. And the first thing that you're going to see here is the first volley of shots that I fire. Once I actually see them right there, and we're going to freeze it, is I change my angle. So I fired those shots from the right side of my cover. I'm going to move to the left side of my cover to hold this angle. And if you only take one thing from this video, it's that you have to at least do this, okay? You have to at least change your angle, change your location. If you fire shots and the enemy knows where you are, Don't sit there and hold that angle. And that's what I really see a lot of the silver or gold players do, is they'll feel like they have a skinny angle. They feel like they have an advantage where they're at. So they'll sit and hold that angle. Well, the enemy can pre-fire you. Like I said, these guys on the other team were highly skilled. So, you don't want to put yourself in a position where they know where you are and can just peek and pre-fire you real quick. So make sure that you're not doing that. The other thing I want to say is using my cover, and the bomb objective is such good cover. It's so hard to kill people behind it because of all the little holes and gaps. Make sure that if you have the opportunity to use something like that as cover, that you can kind of bob on both sides of, that you use it and use it to your full advantage. Okay, getting back into the clip now, you're going to see he puts a hole in the wall right there, and we'll freeze it again to break this down because that really complicates things for me, but it doesn't mean that I have to take on too much risk. What you're seeing me do right now is I'm holding an angle on that hole that he just put, but while I'm doing that, I'm covering myself from the previous angle where I saw him before, that doorway over to the right now. I'm not exposed from that, or maybe a little bit if he shoots through the bomb, maybe, but for the most part, I'm covered from that angle. And what he's doing by opening that hole, and it's a good play on his part, is trying to make himself less predictable, to make me think about where he could possibly come from. And hopefully, by holding this angle, I will expose myself to the angle from the doorway, and he can rotate back to that doorway to get a kill. So what you're going to see me do now is I get off of that angle and I go back to the original angle, the doorway. But when I do that, again, I don't expose myself to this angle, to this hole that he now placed. I lay down and get cover behind this. Now, laying down is one of those things that you're either going to live by or die by. Yes, it does sometimes give you an advantage and puts you in an unpredictable location, but keep in mind that if he quick peeks that right there instead of kind of, slow walking out and sees me laying down, that it takes time for me to get up and get back to cover. That's the weakness of laying down. Yes, it can be unpredictable, but it also really exposes you if you don't get the kill the first time that they peek. Also keep in mind when you're laying down, there's a big difference between laying down with your feet forward or your head forward. Obviously with your head forward, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because of that one-shot headshot mechanic in the game, and your head is literally the first thing that they're going to hit in a lot of those situations. With feet forward, it's the opposite. You're actually at an advantage. It's a little bit harder to put yourself in those positions with the feet forward, but just keep that in mind when you're using that. It is kind of a give and take with laying down. I do use it from time to time, and it does work to help put yourself in more unpredictable locations, but sometimes it backfires. Another thing that has to be mentioned in these back and forth gunfights that's really going to decide the outcome a lot is reload discipline. You'll notice if you go back and watch that clip that I actually got the last two kills all in the same magazine, and I didn't reload in the middle of that gunfight. And I'm not saying that you can never reload in those back and forth gunfights, but it's important to realize that in that last volley there, I had 17 bullets left, and I feel like a lot of players would have reloaded in that situation, and it could have exposed them. It could have resulted in a different outcome there. But in a 1v1 situation, when you're up close like that, 17 bullets is a lot, and it is plenty to finish that out. Now, once you start getting down under 10, you really need to think about reloading. I get that, but I mean, in all honesty, 10 bullets is a lot. And I think that one of the reasons that I was able to keep the pressure applied to him was because I wasn't reloading. And whenever I was firing shots, I was firing maybe 5 bullets at a time. It was not like I was draining my magazine every time that I fired. It was more 3, 4, 5, 6 shot volleys instead of, again, like the 10 or 12. And that was really the difference in that situation. Okay, guys, that's really all I wanted to break down in this video. I think the big things that we have to keep in mind is that, first of all, you need to improve in those situations, okay? Those situations, like we said in the beginning, oftentimes decide the round. It's very, very directly going to affect the outcome of the round. It's easy as a roamer to die in the first minute, and you don't know for sure if your death is what lost the round or not. But so many times when you're in those back and forth gunfights at the end of a round, you know that I lost that gunfight, therefore I lost the round. So that adds to the importance of getting skilled in those. And what I've noticed is whenever I encounter really good players in the game, that they are highly skilled in those situations and they are very tough to beat in those situations. And I think that that clip that we broke down there, it showed me and the player I was going against both doing a good job in that situation. Him opening that wall was him, using whatever tools he had at his disposal to try to make it harder on me. And in all honesty, whenever I laid down there and held that angle, if he would have pushed through that hole, he probably would have killed me. I was putting myself at a disadvantage there. Yes, I tried to cover myself from that angle. I wasn't exposed, but if he just would have rushed through, I was laying down. I probably wouldn't have had time to get up and, get my sights towards that hole. So a lot of times in those situations, you can't be perfect. You can't cover yourself from every angle. You have to kind of choose what is most likely to happen and where they're most likely to come from, and basically try to defend yourself from that while exposing yourself to other less likely possibilities. Don't try to overthink things in that situation where you end up with paralysis from analysis. That's what a lot of people suffer from in a lot of these situations, is trying to make everything too perfect and they end up not doing anything well. Okay guys, I hope this helps you. If it did, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll have more coming your way here soon.